Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Check out the podcast below in the description as well.
This is the video we didn't want to do because we've already done this conversation. And yet here we are. The Raiders, in a game they had to win, going to Atlanta, a game that we warned you'd have to play well and not just lose, John, get completely, and just demolished in a demoralizing fashion. And it's a total replay what happened to them last year against the Jets. In fact, you could argue it was a little bit worse because you, in theory, were better than you were last year. We thought. You had a great tweet. It's just, this is why there's no moral victories in the NFL, right? You didn't beat the Chiefs, and you don't get to pretend that you did. I don't know if they did or didn't, but they got their butts kicked on Sunday.
Well, didn't it feel like watching the Chiefs play the Bucs and obviously watching the Raider game, one team approached that game like they had lost last week, even though they won, the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champs. The other team was getting, and in fairness, so many people in the media, their players, it just felt like they had won because it was probably one of the top 5 games they've played in the Derek Carr era, win or lose, right? Win or lose. And they've had a decent amount of wins in his era, but they had a playoff year. But I'd say even in the loss, it was like everyone felt good. They approached that like they had won, but they had actually lost. And we had said there's no margin for victory once you play a bad Falcons team. In fairness to Gruden, I don't think he was good today, but during the week, I think he realized it's going to be hard to get these guys back up. Said they were the best 3-7 team he'd ever seen. In fairness, they do have some really good players. They have a quarterback who's won the MVP. They got Calvin Ridley. They got 2 good linebackers. Keanu Neal just crushes people. I love that name, Keanu. I thought it was just a cat, but it's a human name. That guy's been hitting people hard since Florida. Raheem Morris has given clearly the team some life. I do think he was just saying, this is not the Jags or the Jets. They can beat you, right? And I think the Raiders knew that. Part of it was just Carr was off. I mean, I last week, Guy, up until the final, that pick that didn't matter at the end of the game, we had said after the game, I don't think he missed a wide receiver's hands, completion or drop. I thought today he was throwing the ball, a couple, but he was a shell of what he was last week in terms of his accuracy. Balls behind, balls over. He just never looked comfortable. Again, back to the analogy of the pitcher, it was one of those, and like the second inning, the manager would have started looking at the bullpen coach and be like, I think we should get Billy Williams up. Right?
He got it today.
Yeah, he ain't got it at all.
If you had told me...
I would say about early in the game, I knew they were in some trouble. I never in a million years, probably by like late second, early third quarter, thought the final score of the game was going to be basically 50-0 when it became 43-6.
Yeah, well,
right?
I thought, they throw the pick, they get the pick 6, right? And it's like, this is bad. And then they just fly down the field, like boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden they're in the red zone. You're like, oh. And that's when I tweeted, don't forget, it's the Falcons. I looked at the clock. There's over 9 minutes left in the third quarter, right? I'm like, oh, hold on a second. I know how this game goes. And I know the final box score is not going to look great, but they're going to score a touchdown here. And
was that when the score was like 16-3 and you're like, they score here, they're just down a score?
Well, I think it was 23-3. So it wasn't like it was going to take some work to come back.
True, but they score a touchdown. It's 23-10. You feel pretty good. You're right.
And you still have 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
16-3 through the pick 6.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
But I thought they'd score the touchdown. And again, it's the Falcons. I've seen them blow 27-point leads. This isn't even that, right? Or no, it wasn't. So it was a 20-point lead. So fine.
Part of it is like it's not like the Falcons look that great, right?
Well, no. If you had told me before the game, Raiders lose today, I'd be like, yeah, I bet that it's just a shootout, right? And the Raiders defense just lets them down. They can't stop Matt Ryan.
That's why I took 3 Raiders. I took Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller, and Derek Carr on my DraftKings team.
I wouldn't have thought it would be because the Raiders scored 6 points. So, but then they don't score a touchdown. They kick the field goal, and you're like, this is a problem because then it's 23-6. You don't have any momentum, and then they march down the field and score a touchdown, and that's when it was.
Yeah, I mean the Raiders got no chance to be in any game against any team when they're scoring 6 points just because of the construct of their team, right? even if they're playing a bad team, they're going to lose a game 20-6. It might not be 43-6 if you're not playing Ridley and Matt Ryan, but it's going to be, even if you're playing the Jets, you lose this game 17-6. If I just tell you they're only scoring 6 points, they're losing to every team. Like I can tell you some good teams, like for example, the Packers. Yeah, they're a bad example, but like the Chiefs or the Steelers, like it's just 9-6 game in the fourth quarter or something. Like the Raiders are not going to play in that game against anybody. To me, though, there was this sense of like they've arrived, and it was hard not to think that. You watch them against the Chiefs, and then you go today, and like they're not in the playoffs right now when you look at the standings, right? Because Miami wins, the Browns win, even Indy and the Tennessee, with Indy losing, they're still above them,
right?
And you just start realizing their margin for error in all these games moving forward, probably beside, I think they play the Jets this week, beside that game, if their offense is off, they can lose. And they by no means are just some well-oiled machine. Why? They've made the playoffs once in basically 2 decades. Like they don't have like, we can fall back on this, we can fall back on that. No, because we saw it last year when they were 6-4. You know, irony, the Jets were 7-3. Now it was different a little bit, but they were 3-7, the exact same records of the 2 teams. And it was same type deal. It was like, it's Gase and Darnold, and they beat the shit out of them. I actually thought that was more of like just beating the shit out of
You're right.
Today, because today like fumbles and picks, it was just a little different.
Yeah.
But it just today to lose 43-6 after you just take the Chiefs and you just go 12 rounds with them and basically lose by a decision. But it was, they put the arm up, but you feel pretty good standing there next to the referee. I don't think it could have gotten much worse today.
Or Mike Tyson. Yeah. I still don't know which.
Well, guy, I turned it off. They got a draw, and I put $100 on Roy Jones.
I was standing there. The guy was holding their wrists forever. I'm like, I can't wait any longer for you to raise somebody's arm. What is happening?
It was a draw. It was a draw.
Well, setting up the rematch, John. Genius. Somebody on Twitter tweeted at me, at DataDriven12. Please no more talk of the Raiders as some lock playoff team while you guys shit on or brush aside Cleveland, who are just as well coached and talented. I don't think Cleveland's ceiling is.
But Cleveland's going to the playoffs now. We've already talked about that.
That's this person's point. It's like they're 8-3. Like now your tiebreaker.
They got a spot. The Raiders got a spot, or Cleveland's got a spot.
Yeah, because now your tiebreaker.
Does Indy have a spot?
Well, they do. I mean, but we'll see, because Baltimore, like if Baltimore play, like Indy's quote unquote a half game ahead of Baltimore, because Baltimore has played one fewer game.
So they play Tuesday, but the one thing I'll give Indy, not a pass, because they were at home and they got Buckner, their best player, out. I think Jonathan Taylor was out. Like they were just missing guys. I have a hard time to think that the Raiders are better than Indy. Now, Derek can be a lot better than Rivers, but just the Indy operation is a little more buttoned up.
Part of what makes it bad is that you just did this last year. Like you just had this happen last year.
Yeah.
You just did it.
Jimmy Durkin tweeted, like, this is you couldn't even make the shit up. Like, this is exactly the same spot, same records, same environment in terms of laying a dud. But to me, where it's worse is the team that they just played Sunday night. Did you see the ratings last week? Were like 20 million, highest rated Sunday night. It was just, and it was awesome. I mean, it was just a fun game. It felt like they had kind of arrived. Like, okay, this offense is elite. I did not think they were locked to win today by any means, just because it's just the NFL, the Raiders. But I never in a million years would I have expected, like you said, shootout, maybe end up losing by 10, but it's like 30-22 or just a weird score, not 43-6. 43-6? Like the Chargers today lost a weird game where they shit down their leg at the end of the game. They lost by 10, but it was like, they were throwing haymakers back.
And they're going to fire their coach at the end of the year. So,
yeah. To me, pretty bad. Like, at the end of the day, it's on your coach and your quarterback. Like, they just had shit days. And to me, it felt a little more on Derek. Like, he was just bad. And the Raiders can't.
Well, 3 fumbles.
Like, they can compete with anyone when he's on, especially like last week, because him on is like an elite player.
That's the
when he's off, he was really off, guy.
Yeah. And I know the Browns have had some great games. I think the Raiders' ceiling is much higher than the Browns' ceiling because of him. Because I think physically he can just do things that Baker can't.
He's a lot more talented for sure.
But you can't look up this year and have the Browns make the playoffs, and you don't. Not to make this, I guess I'm making it about them versus the Browns, not anyone else. But it's just they're a team I compare them to because they're kind of in the same stratosphere, you think. And are they passing you in the AFC?
Well, they're 8-3.
Yeah, they're 8-3. You can't fake 8-3.
Yeah. Do you think, if you had to guess as we sit here right now, do you envision the Raiders in the playoffs? Because I have a hard time after today.
I got a hard time with it. Now, that said, they play the Jets this week.
The Jets.
Then they play Indy. Then they play.
Okay, so you're 7-5. I'll give you the Jets. It's crazy as it sounds. I'm giving you a win, and you deserve it. I mean, the Jets suck. It's probably a 10-point line. That Indy game is fucking huge, is it not?
Well, it's going to be this all over again. Actually, it's going to be bigger because Indy's going to care way more than the team you played on Sunday.
Yeah,
maybe it helps you get up for it.
In front of you right now.
What's that?
You have the schedule up in front of you right now.
The Raiders schedule, yeah.
Yeah. Click on Indy. Who do they play this week?
My mouse just disconnected from my computer, so I can't do anything all of a sudden.
Well, to me, it's like the Indy game. Assuming Indy wins, yes, whoever they play this week is even bigger, right? If they have a game where you just go, oh, that's a win. Like, do they play the Jags this week?
They play at the Texans.
So that's a little harder game than I think we thought. But if we just the game's big no matter what. If Indy wins that game is fucking huge. Because then all of a sudden you could beat the Jets, lose to Indy. All of a sudden you're just hanging on by a thread, and you got the Dolphins, but it might not even matter because the Dolphins and you could just be the teams out.
Yeah.
Now we'll have to see what the Ravens do. I guess the Ravens are kind of this wild card right now because if they lose to Pittsburgh.
Does it feel like they're going to play on Tuesday at this point? I mean, like Schefter said, no game's been canceled yet, so.
Yeah, I think they want to play that game desperately. I mean, they made Denver play without a quarterback today.
Yeah.
Like, out of quarterback.
Which by the way, well, we'll get to that. Yeah.